Okay, so in our last explainer, we defined action research. But today, we're digging into something really important. What actually makes a project count as action research, and not just another good idea you tried in the classroom? Let's get into it.
Yeah, this is really the big question we're tackling. What is that special ingredient that takes a simple classroom experiment and elevates it into a proper research methodology? We're going to break that down right now.
So, to get that answer, we've got to understand the very nature of action research. And look, it's not some quick fix or a one-shot deal. It's all about a continuous, ongoing cycle of getting better.
This quote from our source material really just nails it. It says action research is a process that asks you to reconsider your work, analyze it, critique it, and evaluate it, all with the goal of improving it. This isn't about someone else telling you what to do. It's about you taking control. You become the researcher of your own practice, and the whole point is to make your work better.
And this is what that cycle actually looks like. It's this powerful four-step loop. You reflect on what you're doing, you plan a change, you implement that change, and then you evaluate the results. But here's the key. It doesn't just stop there. Nope. The evaluation from one round becomes the fuel for the next round of reflection. It's a built-in engine for constant improvement.
Okay, so we've got the cycle down. But what are the specific characteristics, kind of like the DNA of the method, that really define something as action research? Let's dive a little deeper into that.
What's so great about these characteristics is they show you just how down-to-earth this whole thing is. First, it's practitioner-led. That means you are the one doing it, not some researcher in an ivory tower. It's situational and specific, focused on solving the immediate problems right in front of you. And it's always improvement-oriented. The goal is to make things better. It's not just random trial and error either. It's a systematic inquiry that requires you to be really reflective. This is research for the real world.
All right, so we know what it is and what it looks like. But why? Why bother with this whole cyclical, systematic process? What's the end game here? What are we actually trying to achieve?
Well, the good news is the objectives are super straightforward and totally focused on making a practical, real-world impact. So if you look here, the biggest slice of the pie, the number one goal, is to improve your own professional work. Makes sense, right? But it goes beyond that. It's also about developing the community you're in, solving those really pressing problems, and sometimes even building totally new models for how to do things.
Okay, so this brings us right back to where we started. What's the real test? How can we definitively tell the difference between action research and, say, more traditional academic research?
This chart makes it crystal clear. Think about it. The goal of traditional research is often to create some new general theory. But with action research, the goal is to improve your local practice. Traditional research focuses on broad questions. Action research is all about solving a specific, immediate problem. And the researcher, in the traditional model, it's an external expert. In action research, it's you. The outcome isn't a published paper necessarily, it's actual practical change.
So when you strip away all the cycles and the charts and the criteria, what's left? What's the engine driving all of this? It really boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful question.
That's it. That is the absolute core of action research. The question isn't some huge abstract thing like, what is the nature of learning? No, it's asking, how do I improve my work? How do I help my students? Right here, right now. And that's exactly what makes it so relevant, so urgent, and so powerful.
And that leaves us with maybe the most important question yet, right? We get the what and the why, we understand the philosophy behind it, but how do you actually do it? How do you get started?
Well, that's exactly where we're headed. In our next explainer, we're shifting from definitions to doing. We're going to explore the major action research models, from the big names like Lewin, Kemmis, and Elliott. We'll give you the practical frameworks you need to actually start your own cycle of improvement. So you're definitely not going to want to miss that.